What's going on, y'all? Welcome to episode 14 of the Welcome to episode
13
of the Struggle to Strength podcast, your source for real life application on how to turn your struggles into strengths in all things mind, muscle, and money. I am your host, Josh Levine, and I am joined here by my longtime friend and my co-host, Travis Hatch. And today, we had the pleasure of interviewing Drake Peterson of the band Iration and podcast personality of the Drake and Jimmy Jew Show. Drake is also an entrepreneur with a media company helping you launch very successful podcasts. And by the way, this episode is fucking hysterical and very not safe for work. So keep your headphones in. So stay tuned for some wildly entertaining and not safe for work conversation around Drake's background and the future of the music industry, how he pivoted through COVID to put himself in the best position he's ever been in, and how he's grown his podcast to the top of the ranks. Before we get into it, we ask that if you love this episode, please give us 5 stars on Apple or a follow on Spotify. Share us on your socials. You can find me at Josh Levine Fitness. You can find Travis at Travis Hawks Media. That's it. Episode 14 starts fucking now.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, it's good to virtually meet you, dude.
Yeah, you too, Josh. I was actually listening to this show. I listened to it when you guys launched it, and then every once in a while when I have some time, I listen to a bit today too. You guys are crushing it. It sounds really good, especially for a new show to sound good right out of the gate, because a lot of these people are just like putting up a lot of garbage. So props to you guys for crushing it.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
That's awesome. That means a lot coming from you. I was listening to your podcast and cruising your clips. Y'all are hysterical, dude.
We have a good time.
Yeah. How were you always, well, how'd you meet Jimmy first off?
So I met Jimmy the same time I actually met Travis, which was so I'm a musician, and we met on Sounds of Summer tour. My band Iration was touring with Slightly Stupid, which was also touring with another band called J-Bug, an artist. It's all reggae music. And then, Josh, the cannabis company, or I guess it's not a cannabis company. What would you call it, Josh? Like a weed device company?
Yeah, it was like it was like a vape, like, I don't know, a vaporizer technology company.
Those Ghost, right?
Yeah, Ghost Vapes, yeah.
Yeah. Not to plug them.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Yeah. Are they even still around? Probably not.
No.
Well, they had so much fucking money are we allowed to curse? Sorry.
Oh,
they had so much money.
So much gosh darn money.
So much gosh darn money. And they just, they had their own bus. Like, you guys literally had your own bus. And at one point it was just 2 girls on their own tour bus. And, with a tour of like 50 men.
Sounds like the beginning of like a porno.
Yeah, I feel like
Did you purposely set it up like that?
I think I've seen that one. Is that on one of those laptops that you showed us?
Yes. Anyway, so then every once in a while, Travis would go on tour, and you'd come to different cities. And your boy Josh too from Ghost. Shout out Josh. And so that was a super fun tour. And anyway, so J-Bug, one of the artists, one of his friends happened to be Jimmy Jew, and me and some of the other guys in our band, we had followed Jimmy because he posts he's like a meme guy. He posts memes, like kind of like, the like fuck Jerry and all that stuff. But his is like a little out there, kind of inappropriate, sometimes a little, mostly inappropriate. And a lot of times it's very right wing, which I'm not right wing at all, but I still get a good laugh. It's very funny. So we saw him out in Tahoe, and ended up getting a ticket that day for drinking in public, which I guess I thought, hey, I'm in Nevada.
It's my boy.
I can drink. And I was with the 2 Ghost girls, and we were trying to cross the street, and little did I know that we were in the wrong state, and because Tahoe's split.
Oh.
So I got a ticket, and they were drinking too, the 2 Ghost girls, Jenny and Sheena, and the cop, it was an undercover cop. He gives me the ticket and doesn't give it to them.
Oh my God. He's like, you guys split this up however you want.
Yeah.
Damn.
So anyway, so we saw Jimmy there that day, and he was like drinking red wine, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. He's this big like biker dude, bald, like he was just drinking red wine. Anyway, so we invited him onto our tour bus, and then after that, we just became friends. And so, yeah, that's how we originally met him. And he's a funny guy. And most people get a little bit, most people look at him, they're like, oh man, this guy's not a good person. Like he's, a Trump supporter, which he is, but he's just a good person. That's all I have to say about Jimmy. Yeah. And we have a good time together.
Yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to ask, because I thought it was so cool. Like in a world where it seems people pick a camp and then everything outside of that camp is like evil and horrible, and you don't have time for it. I just thought it was so cool that you guys are, coming together and doing this podcast. Because I think there is kind of like a third camp of people who don't want to be in either of those camps. Like we're just like, let's just like be people and be good people and enjoy it. Like I don't care, what your beliefs are, as long as you're not hurting anybody. Then whatever. So I just thought that was so cool. Like where'd the idea come from to get the podcast started like that?
I think it was there was somebody that was like, because Jimmy would come to a bunch of our shows whenever we were up in his area in NorCal. So we would always, during the shows, after the shows, before the shows, we'd always like, hang, like a little party, and people would always enjoy our banter together. And so eventually, if someone was like, "You guys got to have a podcast," and we were just like, "Man, whatever." And then one day we were like, after like 2 years of hearing the same person going, "You guys should start a podcast," we were like, "Okay, fine, we'll start a podcast," like just for the hell of it. And we decided to do it, and then we never did it. And then one day we were just like, let's just book a flight. I'll come up to NorCal and let's just try it. Like, let's just see what happens. If anything, we'll just be hanging out and that'll be that. But it ended up being like, we ended up having a really good time. The first 3 episodes were garbage, but we had a great time.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, just absolute garbage. We didn't even have a name picked out. We had nothing, had no idea what we were doing. But we ended up, we released those like way later, because it's just like kind of funny to re-release those or to release them.
We have one of those.
The second meeting, it's great content to have to make fun of yourself later and roast yourself. So yeah, we just, we ended up just enjoying doing this and meeting new people and having all of our friends on our shows. And we love creating stuff together. And going back to what you were saying about the different camps, Travis, we both, I feel like, started being in our separate camps, and now we've definitely we find ourselves in that third camp, Yeah. Because so many times people are like, oh, that guy, he voted for Joe Biden. I hate him. I don't want anything to do with him. Or the opposite, that guy voted for Trump, or that girl voted for Trump. I don't like them. Mm-hmm. But the thing is pretty much all of us we all pretty much have the same beliefs and values. And there's just a couple things that most people really care about. And unfortunately, that defines whether that in our society, that defines you as either left or right.
Right.
And that's all that we hear about, but that's not the case, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think it's ridiculous to hear that people would completely disown somebody and remove them from their life just because of who they're voted for, or not even give them a chance to find out who they are as a person, just based off one singular decision that they made and one thing that maybe you disagree on, but like we're still people. We can still be friends. So it's cool to see that y'all are doing that.
Yeah, we're doing it and we're having a great time doing it. And I hope people are, start to catch on, especially after this election. We're more polarized than ever and everyone's canceling each other. Like it's happening. I see it. I mean, it happens I live in Los Angeles, and I see people who have Trump signs who are like trying to protest, and everyone just treats them like absolute garbage. And, they have something to say, like, so let's just listen to them, but let's stop fighting each other and maybe just like sit down, have a beer and talk it out and have a good time.
I agree.
Do you think the form of content we're all in long form content where we're used to learning about people, we have you on this show. I want to learn everything about you. Do you think that influences your ability or your quick to judge concept of allowing people the benefit of the doubt to understand who they are before you actually judge?
Yeah, I think, I don't know. One thing I've learned is to not judge people. And that is that's always the hardest lesson for me to learn, is to not judge people, because I don't know, just everybody has a story. Everybody has issues. Everybody has, things that make them who they are. But I'm not about judging people. And I still find myself judging people. I do my best to keep it in, or if I don't know, that's my goal I've been thinking about that a lot, is trying not to judge people for the way they look or what they wear or anything like that. So did that answer your question?
Yeah, no, it did. I think a lot of times we are the way we are, obviously, because of the way that we were brought up. And that goes for everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I guess I'm curious to know how what's your back? How did you grow up? How'd you get into comedy or music or your forms of content? How did all of this turn into what it is today?
So I grew up in Orange County, Orange County, California, which is a very conservative area. Mm-hmm. My mom raised me as a single mother in a we were like the poor kids in the rich neighborhood, and she was really smart. She found a house for like $100,000 in a brand new neighborhood that, later she sold it for like probably $800K. So that was a smart move on her. But we were by this place called like Coto de Casa. And so I went to school with all these like millionaire, billionaire kids. And so that was one side of my, of my family. But the best part about my neighborhood was that I lived next to a composer. His name is Glenn Lacey, and he was a trumpet player. And every day I would always hear him like playing trumpet or whatever. And so our neighborhood was very close knit. So he would always bring me upstairs to his studio, and he would write music for that show Digimon and like Power Rangers.
Shit. No way.
And so I was like 12, 13 being like, this is so sick. I love this. So I would always just sit in his studio and just kind of watch and then one day it was like time to pick your instrument. So I was like, cool, I'm going to play the trumpet because Glenn would play it. So he started to teach me a little bit, how to play the trumpet. And I know this kind of sounds dirty, like this old man having to go upstairs in his house and play trumpet.
You said it.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say it. You said it.
I didn't think of it. No.
Did you have a white van too?
Yeah. No, so I just learned, I feel like I learned how to compose music and play music just from watching him and listening. And then when it came time to like figure out where to go to school, I was like, well, I don't really know how to do anything except music. So I ended up applying to a bunch of different schools. I was like 17 when I graduated high school. And so I went to the school called California Institute of the Arts. It's in like LA, north of LA. And it was like a school started by Walt Disney. And it was basically for him to train all of his animators so that he could like a feeder for Disney.
Yeah.
For his studios. And then, but it's like 1,200 kids. And they did music, animation, dance, film, acting. It was so much fun because it's like super crazy school. Like you'd be walking, like there's an art gallery in there that each week a new kid would like be in charge of it. And I'm talking like a basketball court, massive place. Like people would like one artist decided to line the whole place up with bubble wrap. And that was installation. People would just walk in bubble wrap for like, 100 yards. Insane. Or like you'd see like a bunch of violinists like playing, with naked while dripping chocolate on top of them. Weird stuff. So it's very awesome. Like,
anyone not from California is like, what the fuck?
What the hell are these people doing? There was a lot of nudity, a lot of like crazy creative stuff. But hey, this is like, it was super fun.
I think that's
so.
Awesome,
that's kind of what influenced me of like, there's really no boundaries to art. You can do whatever you want. And if people like it, well, keep on doing it,
Mm-hmm.
And it's I mean, someone's going to like it. If you went through all that weird shit in college, there was probably a lot of people who liked it, even the really weird shit. So you're like, oh man, no matter what I do, like some people are going to like it.
Exactly. And if they don't, then maybe you should not be an artist.
Yeah.
If nobody likes it, it's not your thing. Yeah. Try something else.
Yeah. So then after that, after college, I was like, okay, well, now what do I do? So I just tried to, I went there to study trumpet performance, but I ended up leaving there, like being really good at composition, like conducting orchestras, arranging, not really production so much yet, but I was really good at just kind of faking it until I got really good at something, which is kind of what they taught. It was like, oh, you don't know how to play Latin music? Okay, well, here's how you fake it. And here's how you make yourself sound really good, and how to like be really disciplined to become the best at it. And so that just got me ready to be a freelancer in LA. So just in Los Angeles, there were so many different gigs that you had to kind of fight for. But once you've got the in and it's all about the hang in music. I don't know about what you guys do, but if you're like if you're just okay at what you do, but you're a great hang, you're going to get called before those people who are like very like virtuosic. Can't even say the word.
Yeah.
So I just use my personality to my favor. I'm a good trumpet player. I know a lot of better trumpet players, but it's all about the hang, baby. So I just freelance, I played with as many people as I could. I always said yes to everything. Even in the beginning when it paid nothing, I would say yes. And it just I ended up playing with people like Snoop Dogg, people like El DeBarge, Stevie Wonder, and then just, everything. Ended up conducting a bunch of times at the Greek Theater in Los Angeles. And then one day, I also had to teach. I also had to do a bunch of side teaching, and that I will never teach again, ever again in my life, because I overdid it. I got really, really good at it, and people kept hiring me, and then one day I just had to like stop. And
was that was like how to kind of pay the bills and stuff while you were doing these like free, because that makes a lot of sense. Like do something to keep your bills paid while you do a lot of free projects to like build that network. Like how else are you going to get in with the, free to fee is like, that's the best way to do it.
Totally. And I don't think everyone should be doing stuff for free, especially later in their career. But in the beginning as a student, it was or even after, just right after college, it was the best thing to do, because you just had to like network as best as you possibly could. And, it worked. And then eventually I had so many gigs and so much teaching that I had to pick one. It was obviously very simple to pick. So when I joined Iration, it was like, okay, time to tour full time. And that was the best possible thing ever. And it's been almost like 5 years now. And so I was able to, join a great band that works a lot, like 7-8 months out of the year on the road, playing for really great people.
Die hard, awesome fans.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And I get to meet really cool people like Travis, or as I knew him back then, Chad. I had to deprogram
always
myself.
A Chad. Travis. He was always a Chad.
Well, because his Instagram was like, it's Chad. And so I was like, oh, okay, his name's Chad. And then on tour, when you meet like 50 people that you see every single day, like I'm so bad with names. So if I sometimes I would see Instagram more handles. Than I would see him, because he would be in and out of tour. So his Instagram was It's Chad. So for the longest time, I was still calling him Chad.
That's why I changed it, because I was never really like that big into social media back then. And then I realized like, oh, now I'm doing professional stuff where I need to like stop being like
Chad.
Yeah. Like I need to have like a legitimate, like I didn't even like care about my Instagram, but I was like, now I need like, everyone thinks my fucking name's Chad for whatever reason.
Well, they think your name's Travis Hawks too.
Yeah. Just like, I just like name. To keep people on their toes.
It is. Yeah, it is a good name. Dude, that's wild. Touring must be crazy. Tell us about that.
Touring is super fun. It's not for everybody, but if you don't like to be at your house all the time, especially like right now, like I'm itching to tour.
I bet.
I want to go. It's great to wake up in a different city. You live on a tour bus. I did some touring before I joined Iration with like a Latin band, and that one was fun in the beginning, but it was, we would tour in like one of those Econoline, like white Ford vans.
Oh, wow.
And these guys were insane. The Latin music scene, and I can't believe I did this for 2 years, was literally on like, you would go and play clubs like in Florida or New York or anywhere in the United States, and we would drive all these guys had like day jobs. So they would leave, the shows would be like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'd leave Thursday morning and we would just drive. No hotels, nothing like that. We would just drive to, like, let's say Florida. And then in 3 days, no hotels. And then you would play your show and you would like get dressed in this disgusting van with 10 people. It was fun for a little bit.
Oh
awful.
My God.
And then you'd come back, you'd be back on Tuesday, they'd go to work, and then you would do it again, maybe that week or the next week. And it was insane. So
Savage.
when I got to do a tour bus gig, I was like, oh my God, I get my own bunk. It's like, it's great.
Yeah, because I was on like the big like tour bus, and I was only doing it for whatever, like a month or I was doing it for weeks, months at a time, not like an entire summer. And we're on like this tour bus and shit, and like that was one of the things I realized I'm not built for that life.
Was that for Ghost?
You didn't like it?
Yeah.
No, I mean I liked it, but I feel like it took years off of my life in that amount of time.
Well, yeah, you must.
It's a lot.
You must party a lot.
Yeah,
I can only imagine it's a nonstop party.
Yeah. Yep.
That tour was literally the best summer of my life because and there was something I still have yet to have a tour that was anything like that. I mean, tours are always fun, but that one in particular was literally insane. It was 4 bands. It was Slightly Stupid, Iration, J-Bug, and then The Movement. And it was 3 months long.
That's
3
crazy.
months. And the way Slightly Stupid works is they have plenty of money in their budget and they all have families. So they want to go home. They want to play 3 shows and then go home. So a normal tour that could take it could have taken a month and a half. They stretch it out to 3 months. So the rest of us who we couldn't afford to fly our crew and band of 12 people. So it's cheaper to stay out on the road and go vacation in Florida or wherever it was we were at that time. So it was just like a party tour.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
And it was great because normally when you're doing a headline, if you're the headliner, you play for an hour and a half, 2 hours. But we were the direct support. So we played right before the headliner. We played for 30 to 40 minutes at 6:30 to 7:30. And most of the time we didn't even get a sound check. So what were we doing? We were golfing. We were going surfing. We were doing literally whatever. And then you just show up, you saunter on stage, the sun's setting. It's great. You have a White Claw in your hand, a margarita in your hand. You're playing for some fans, and then that's it. And then you're done. And that was a great summer. And then we go punish the ghost bus and re-raid the fridge.
And party with J-Bug. Didn't J-Bug do that Nice to Know You song? Is that him?
Nice to know.
Yeah, is that what I'm thinking of?
Yes, sir.
That was a hit. That song got me laid in college for sure.
Yeah.
I love J-Bug. He's literally the best. Shout out J-Bug.
Yeah.
Those guys are awesome.
That sounds like a really good time, honestly.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm built for it, though. Yeah, you're right. It sounds like it takes years off your life.
Yeah.
It definitely does. But that's why you got to have a good routine and just, take care of your liver and, drink your collagen, have some greens, eat your mushrooms.
Eat your mushrooms?
Eat your mushrooms.
I was going to say we should plug Revive until the mushrooms part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I do like myself some mushrooms.
What's Revive?
Revive is my one of my sponsor supplement companies. So they have a liver, a kidney, a collagen, a greens. You can use Levine 10 for 10% off at checkout.
Ooh. I love a good ad. It makes me really hard.
Good.
That's the best ad they've ever had.
That might be. Yeah. Their ad.
But you know what makes you harder? Revive.
Yeah. Revive's boner supplements.
Better than a vegan diet. Oh my God. Dude, what's the craziest thing you've ever seen on tour or done on tour?
Oh, Jesus.
I feel like you seem like a pretty ridiculous human and I'm all here for it. So
well, the problem is all the crazy stuff that happens, sometimes you just don't remember it. Actually,
alcohol.
One of the most fun times on tour, I will say, was with Travis and with Josh too. We woke up. So sometimes you didn't always after 3 months, you don't always pay attention to where you're going to end up. Right.
I never knew where I was or what was going on.
And so usually you'd wake up and like mostly we played like amphitheaters. So you'd wake up in like the back of like an amphitheater, like a concrete, whatever. But one day we woke up and we opened the door and all I see are tents surrounding us. We're in the middle of nowhere, beautiful trees everywhere. And it was just like hippie glitter just was falling from the skies. It was just like happiness and joy. It was just amazing. It was amazing. And so it turns out we were in this place called Nelson Ledges in Ohio.
I believe we were in this magical place called Ohio.
Ohio. And that was the most fun day because it was just like this, but we were just partying all day, jumping in like the quarry. It was just this beautiful like freshwater quarry. Do you remember that, Travis?
Yeah, it was unreal. Like,
but at the end,
I was so confused that we were in Ohio. I was like, this place is like the oasis of Ohio. It's like amazing.
And then at the end of the night, I just remember being with Travis, and I don't know if we can say this, but we were just like taking a bunch of Molly, and we ended up going into the woods. And in this place, Camp Weirdo, we were on this golf cart. And so I just remember us hanging on for dear life at the end of the night, trying to make bus call because you don't want to miss the bus. And the whole golf cart tipped over and we all just fell. There was like 12 of us on this golf cart. It was very dangerous. And it was just like, we went to this place called Camp Weirdo. And so, yeah, I'd say that was one of the craziest nights because it was just like everyone was on something. Whether or not they knew what it was, who knows? It was insanity and it was so magical and so fun.
That sounds amazing.
I feel very honored that your craziest story from your tours involves me.
Involves you? So, yeah. I feel honored that it involves you.
I can retire.
Yeah. You're done.
Retire.
That's it. You're done. You're done, kid.
No, that was such an insane, like amazing time. It was like, yeah, just like a crazy, I mean, there was like, I don't know, so many hundreds of people just like camping out in the woods, and they built all these different like little camp areas, and they had signs and bonfires and all this just crazy stuff going on. It was very cool. Like
so fun.
Really cool, like hippie fest type thing.
Yeah.
Nice and crunchy.
100%.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was So let's talk about your COVID career pivot and your podcast and all of that stuff, because I'm super interested to hear about how everything has gone for you since COVID happened. Because we've talked to a few people about this type of thing, and there seems to be maybe a couple different camps on this, but there's definitely the people who were, lost a job or something and were affected terribly by it. And then there was a lot of people who lost their jobs and ended up doing way better because of it. So Josh and I are both in that camp, and it kind of seems like you are as well. And yeah, just interested to hear your story.
Yeah. So I remember being, it was like we were touring in February and we came back. It was a 2-part tour, and we had 2 weeks in between. This was February of 2020. And we come back from the first part of the tour, and we end up having to cancel the second part of the tour. And at that point I was like, okay, this is bad. Like you don't just cancel like national tours. Like this is really bad. And then basically I got taken off salary, and I was like, okay, this is really bad. That was like end of March. And I was like, oh shit, like what now? Luckily I already had my podcast, the Drake and Jimmy Jew Show. And so I was like, okay, well this now it was making some money, but now I was like, okay, well this now has to be my main money maker. So I was like, I don't know what that entails yet, but I was like, music is dead. And I was like, this is not going away for a while. So I was pretty good about, I mean, most people I think thought this was going to happen for like maybe 3 months, 4 months, whatever. But I was like, this doesn't sound good, because our manager is a huge pessimist, but he's always knows what's going on. He's like, yeah, we're not going to go back on tour for like 2 more years. Like, I just know that's what's going to happen. And he's right. But anyway, so I took his advice and I was like, okay, I got to pivot immediately. So I immediately, I wanted to keep music going. So I immediately bought all of these plugins and sound things for my computer so that I could start composing music, for money. So I just made sure I got really good at that, because I've always known how to do it, but I've never like sold myself as doing that. So I immediately practiced that every single day. I started learning the guitar just so that I could, up my arsenal, so I could have more things in my toolbox. And on top of that, Iration, they saw that I was having, success with my show. So they were like, well, we want to have a podcast too. So I was like, great. So that was another income source I was able to start, making money with. So we turned it into a business. My partner, Christopher McCone, shout out. He's the producer of the Drake and Jimmy Jew show, and he does all the editing and everything like that. So we decided that we were going to take on the Iration project together. And then slowly more and more people just started coming to us and being like, hey, can you produce this for us? Can you edit this for us? And we didn't even get to do any marketing. It was just like, hey, I see what you guys are doing. I like it. Can you help us? And so thank God that happened, because I don't know, I'd literally be on the street right now probably, or I'd be like with my parents,
or even worse, I'd be with my parents.
Or even worse, I'd be living with my mom. No, actually, I'm not going to say that. But anyways, yeah. So I was going to say I'd be like S&Ds on the side on the streets, like in an alley.
Or even worse, I'd be living with my mom.
I mean, what's the going rate for that? I don't know. Maybe it's not so bad.
If you have to ask, you can't afford it.
So I guess basically I just would start going, and once the work started coming in, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go to some people that I know would have a great podcast, and I'm going to try to convince them that they need a podcast. And like, it worked. I did it probably for about 5 or 6 people. I got one person who, thank God I did it. Her name's Courtney Swan. She has, we started her podcast about 22 weeks ago, and it's reached the top of the health and wellness charts. And it's called Real Foodology. And basically she loved what we were doing, or just the production of it. And, so yeah, we were able to get hers going, and now we do a lot of consulting for people now. And we haven't even had time to make a website or anything like that, or even our production company is called Resident Media, which we started an LLC for, but we don't even have a website for it yet. So we can't even market it out, but people are just coming to us and being like, hey, can you just help us launch our show? Like, and it's been a blessing. I fucking hate that word, but thank God that we are able to do that and keep ourselves eating temporarily. Actually, it could even be like a full-time thing, like after COVID. I mean, touring might come back in July now, if there's whispers of it, because it all depends on the vaccine, basically. If everyone can get the vaccine, then shows can happen.
Do you think they will? Do you think they'll come like right back, or do you think it'll be kind of like a slow process?
Yeah, what's attendance going
I feel like it's either going to be a creeping thing or it's going to be a tsunami, right? I mean, I think
it's going to be like a full fist up. I mean, a full fist of shows.
Right.
Like I think everyone wants to play shows so bad, and I think people want to go to a show.
Yeah.
I mean,
dying for.
Do you guys want to see a show?
I'm fucking dying for live music.
Yeah, I would literally go see a show if it was like a terrible guitarist at a coffee shop. I would do anything to see that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything. So yeah, I think it's going to come back with full force, but I don't believe July is going to happen, because I think a lot of people think that the vaccine is going to fix something, but I think a lot of people there's going to be a lot of people who aren't going to want to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I don't know if you guys talk about that on here, because that's like a whole controversy.
Yeah, a little bit, but I feel like as long as enough people get it, it's kind of whatever. Personally, I'm like, just fucking let the people live.
Yeah.
But
yeah, let's just, I just want to play a show. I'm ready.
I just want to see a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're so starving for music. We're like going out into the desert with our sound systems and just playing music really loud.
Shows.
Yeah, we throw our own damn shows.
Well, I think
Travis,
that
you're like you're traveling a lot. Looks like you're having a blast. So much love to that. I'm jealous.
Yeah, I've been able to do a little bit of traveling. I got some it's kind of been as video gigs have come up, if I have an opportunity over here, I go do that. If I have an opportunity over here, go do that. But I've been able to do a little bit of traveling for sure. But yeah, I think that's so cool. Like the way it worked for you. And just kind of like thinking about that, because basically you were in an opportunity that was really bad or could have been really bad. But you put yourself in a position of having a skill that a lot of people needed right when because everybody was pivoting all at the same time. So they're starting a podcast is something that a lot of people did. We did it, and most of them have a skill in something else, which is what they're talking about. And they don't know anything about tech, and you've got that skill. So you're, like you said, you didn't even have to do any marketing. Like people are just flooding to you.
Yeah. It was literally a hobby that me and my buddy Jimmy were doing for fun, and it turned into a full-fledged business.
Yeah. That's so cool. And I'm just curious for myself, how long did it take you? You said you were making money from your podcast. How long did it take you to get to a point where you guys were like making money from the podcast?
It took about a year, but honestly, we could have made money from it way sooner, but I just didn't know that you could make money from a podcast. Because literally it was just like, it was a for fun thing. Like the guy, his name is Nick, he's now our manager, but he's the one that was like, you guys got to have a podcast. You guys got to do a podcast. So much to the point where he's like, he bought us like a laptop and everything for us to use, for recording. And he would pay for the plane tickets. He was like, well, I call him daddy, but he was just being like our sugar daddy basically. Cause he really believed in it. So I was like, okay, well, we don't really need a sponsor. Like everything's paid for or whatever. But then one day I was like, just kind of doing, a light Google search, just seeing what sponsors were and what the whole deal was, had no idea. And I reached out to a sponsor who my friend knew. I just hit him up on Instagram through our account, Drake and Jimmy Jew account. And I was like, hey, do you guys ever sponsor any podcasts? And they're like, do we? We sponsor like 50,000 podcasts. They didn't say that, but yeah. But literally it was like the first sponsor that I reached out to on Instagram. They were like, yeah, sure, we'll give you money. And I was
Did
like,
you say podcast?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I think it could have happened way sooner because our numbers were good for pretty much from the beginning, but they just liked our brand and it aligned well with their brand. And so once I realized that I could just get drunk in a bathtub and message people on Instagram and ask for money and it worked. And Instagram, I hate Instagram, but I also absolutely love it because you could just message anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about that on the episode
podcast
that aired today, episode 11. We talked about that. Like it's easy to hate social media, and you're probably in the right for doing that. But if you're doing any sort of business, I mean, it's just insanely powerful and still underutilized, still undervalued, I think underrated, I'd say for most people.
Yeah.
Even how much it's like taken control of our lives and everyone's so obsessed with it. I think it's underrated for how much it can do for you.
Dude, 100%. It's just so, I don't know. Are you guys on the TikTok thing? Like,
no,
I tried. I'm not into like the dancing and the, yeah.
Bus it.
Well,
I could probably bus it. This dump truck, I could probably bus it.
You can find him on It's Chad on TikTok. He'll be there shirtless, like dancing, like and twerking.
That's Josh's department. I don't have an ass like that.
I tried, dude. It doesn't shake. I tried. It's too firm.
You need more collagen, dog.
Dude, maybe. Should up my collagen dose. But no, I tried TikTok. I know Gary Vee talks about it all the time. I just feel like you get a lot of views and you can get a lot of attention, but I don't feel like the conversion's there.
Yeah. I don't know the Are you talking about like how to make money off of it?
Well, how to make money off of it, but also like how to get people to a sale, like to a phone call or to a sale or to engage with you in some way other than just liking it. A lot of my marketing on social media is geared towards getting people on the phone. And if you're on TikTok, you're just scrolling, like maybe whatever. You're not like going to my profile, checking me out, messaging me. So just what I didn't see the value in it.
I think you can create content compelling enough to send them wherever, but it's
hard to get people to switch platforms though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That is true.
So you have an Instagram. Do you have a YouTube too? Or is just
we have
Instagram?
We have a YouTube that we have neglected. But it's actually starting to grow because we're giving it a little bit of attention. Mm-hmm. But one thing about this is about just creating content is there's so many things that you could be doing. Like if you wanted to book every hour of your day, you could. It's like, okay, you have your Instagram and now you have your TikTok and now you have this thing called Clubhouse, which and then it's like, then you have YouTube and then, you have to be engaging, you have to be doing this many posts. Oh, and by the way, you have to also make a podcast. It's like, there's so many different things that you have to do. So yes, the answer is we do have a YouTube and it's starting to grow a little bit, which is good. And I don't know. Yes, we do have a YouTube.
Yeah. How do you manage all? I mean, I feel that, and I feel like Travis is in the same boat here where we're on social media, we're doing our marketing, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're creating content, we're responding to people, we're being engaging, we're in the DMs. Y'all have a lot going on. How do you manage that? You're also doing this for other people as a business.
Yeah. So for instance, last week we put out five podcasts, like all different shows, so that's 5 hours. So actually a little bit more than that, of stuff. And so my partner is really good at the editing stuff. What I do, my part is like, if it's a show that we're developing, I make sure that the content makes sense, that, we know who your audience is, we get the art out, we get the music going. Sometimes I have to make the music for the show. So that's that. It's all about delegating and writing lists. I have lists everywhere. Lists. I have Post-its. My boyfriend he hates the Post-its. So he tried to buy me this calendar. I threw that fucking thing away because I hated it. I need Post-its. I need a little bit of disorder in my life. Today, I just ordered a whiteboard this morning. Okay. Just to get organized. But I'll write lists and then I make things in my calendar on my phone. I basically tell myself to do the same thing on like 20 different platforms and hope that I see one of them that day.
Same.
I do the same thing.
I try to stick to like, if it's a meeting, like meetings, phone calls, appointments, podcasts, anything that there's a time goes on the calendar and in my notes. And then everything else is just all like in a list in my notes. And it's just like every day I'm like looking at that and I'm just like, I think this is what I should be doing right now. I don't fucking know, but I guess. Yeah.
It's hard when you run your own business because it's like, especially when you're at your house, it's like, do I want to like jerk off right now or do I have to work? Or it's like, oh my God, there's the switch. I think I want to play like this game that takes your life. It's so easy. Or maybe I'm going to just have an early lunch right now.
Well, you got to put like jerking off on your calender. That's the
Yes.
You gotta allocate those 2.5 minutes
just so everyone else knows.
I'm doing it right now. I'm multitasking. I mean, you got these two handsome men right now on Zoom. Jesus,
show me your hands. Hands up.
No, but it's all about delegating, I think. And like we just hired a social media guy like last week or 2 weeks ago, and that has been amazing. We just give him the content and then he posts it and he's been doing engaging for us. Like this is just for the Drake and Jimmy Jew show. And it's so good. I feel like the weight is lifted off my shoulders. So delegating. We just hired a sales team now, basically just commission. So it's two of our guys, our friends who already sell something else. They're like, well, we have all the lists. We'll just send a second email and make a second phone call.
What are they selling?
They're selling ads for podcasts.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah. And it's like, we just give them a little percentage of whatever they make. So, cause that's, I don't know. And then, cause literally yesterday, I don't know if you guys get these yet. You will, but you'll start getting unsolicited, emails.
Oh yeah.
From like I can book you here. I can book you here. Mm-hmm. Well, I had this call with this guy yesterday and he's like, yeah. So for $4,000, I was like, okay, well for $4,000, like you better be giving me something. You better be getting me like something really good, like a blowjob or something. Anyways, he's like, yeah, we are going to create like a pitch deck for you. And then we are going to, we're going to get you on 10 other podcasts. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, are we talking like Joe Rogan? Are we talking like, what shows are like, tell me some really good shows. And the guy unfortunately didn't do his research, and all the shows he was going to pitch us to were shows that like didn't really align with us, or that we were significantly bigger than them. And so I was like, $4,000, that's just like insanity, absolutely insanity. So, I don't know. It's just, it got me thinking like, okay, well, instead of giving some guy $4,000, like let's just start hiring people to help us build our brand and then also help them too.
Right. So, like the idea is there, but the execution and the price are stupid. So
I mean, $4,000,
let's take thanks for the idea. Now I'm going to go do it better on my own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Best call ever.
And you don't have to do it. That frees up a lot of time so you can be on social media or jerk off or whatever you want.
100%. One of the things I heard on one of those things that you're scrolling through where they give you like the motivation things, whatever. The guy was brilliant. He was like, if you're running a company, you shouldn't be doing a $10 an hour job.
Yep.
Like you're doing the $100 an hour job. Yep. Like get someone else to do that $10 an hour job who it's like, that's what they do,
Yeah.
So
I feel
that's
like
kind of been my motto.
I feel like a lot of people when they're first starting out though, you have to, there's a point, and I'm just getting past this right now in your business where it's like, you just got to grind and do all of it until you can afford to pay someone that, it's more than $10, but still. And that phase sucks. Yeah. That's a lot of long days and short nights.
But yeah,
dude, 100%.
Unless you have like investors or savings or something that you want to like dump into it, which is kind of the way like bigger companies do things. Unless you're going to do that, then you have to do all of it until you start making money. And then even past that, you got to know like, okay, a good portion of what I'm going to make now, I need to invest back in the business so that I can have other people doing things that I don't have time for. So then I can make even more money.
Exactly.
And get things to a place where I really want them.
Because once you do hire some people to do those shitty jobs that you don't want to do, well, you have to pay them, but also you're going to blow up.
Yeah.
Do you? Maybe.
Yeah, no, I just can't.
Depends what
kidding. I pay all my contractors.
Depends what country you're in, but yeah, once you do that, it's the efficiency you're going to blow up.
That's what I'm working on right now. Cause like with video, it's like editing is the thing that takes forever. So I'm working with, an amazing editor right now, James. He's helping me with I just gave him 5 projects earlier today. So like he's taking all of that off my plate, and that's freeing me up to go like get more clients and do more video shoots.
Yes.
Because sales, booking clients, working with clients, marketing, networking, and shooting video is what I need to be spending my time doing.
And it looks great, by the way.
Thank you.
All the stuff that you're doing is amazing. And same with you, Josh. I was stalking you. Great body, my friend.
Dude, thank you. Validate
I need
me.
some help.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen.
I hate working out so much.
Really?
And I need somebody to help me not hate it.
Well, depending on what you need, sometimes you just need someone to berate you with negative comments while you're doing movements and till tears fall out of your face.
Just walked by with weights.
Oh, is that a hint?
Yes, I guess that he's hinting to that. But no, I do like that idea of, I did have a trainer once, like maybe 5 years ago. I went to a UFC gym, and he was like this boxing. It was like he was boxing, and he would just like scream at me, and I would scream at him, and it was great. I was in great shape.
It's very cathartic.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Especially, were you fighting? Were you boxing? Or were you lifting?
It was like two parts. It was like boxing, like in a class form. So you had your own bag. And then I would do the private sessions just with him, and we would do weights and stuff. And then he's like, all right, Drake, it's time to get in the ring. And I didn't do it. I literally left. I like threw down my gloves and walked away because I was scared, because I was afraid I was going to hit in the face.
It doesn't hurt.
My trumpet. This is my trumpet face right here. If I get fucked up in the face, I can't play the trumpet anymore. So I was like, had a huge anxiety. So I never got in the ring, and I never will.
Oh man. what if he just let you beat him up? That to me is awesome.
A good trainer isn't going to hurt. And he's not going to hurt you.
Well, here's the thing. And this is so embarrassing. I can't believe I'm saying this. It was him training 4 other people at this specific time. And they were all like, a couple of them were like teenage kids, and I was like 22, 23. So I felt like such a pussy, but I was like, you know what? I don't even care. It's just like,
hey, like a 15-year-old that knows how to fight would fuck you up if you don't know how.
Plus, they're so resilient. That's not even fair anymore.
Exactly.
I feel like it's not fair for us at our age. We're like old and brittle. Got bird bones. That's awesome though. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that you took a look at the content. That's cool. And you guys are doing great stuff too. Honestly, you're just fucking hysterical. Like even the shit you repost is hysterical. Yeah.
No, it's fun. Jimmy finds all of the crazy stuff.
Oh yeah, he's the meme guy.
Yeah, I love his posts.
Meme guy.
Yeah. Were both of you always like in comedy, or you ever?
None of us are in comedy. No, I would never consider myself a comedian.
No?
But I guess that's just my like.
You're just funny.
My nervous tick.
What is that? You're hysterical. That's your nervous tick. Dude, that's a pretty good tick. I'll trade you.
No, right.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
And Jimmy's definitely not in. He's not in comedy, but he's one of the funniest people I know. He's so witty, and I don't know where he comes up with this stuff, but he is so funny.
Yeah,
and he has some people that follow him, or like Channing Tatum follows him, and Diplo follow him, and he doesn't even know who those people are. Yeah. I'm like, Jimmy, like get him on the pod. He's like, no, because he just doesn't understand.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like there's a new era of comedy, which I guess Jimmy's page especially is unknowingly kind of a part of, which is like meme comedy. You know, there's a lot of people who are pretty much. Yeah.
Theft. I mean, literally it's theft.
Well, it's like a pawn shop or something.
Exactly.
You get it from over here, you give it to people over there.
Don't ask questions. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what the TikTok culture kind of is. It's like the same dance
copycats.
move that 50,000 million people just redo the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just our recycling trends. Culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like much less creative than you would think.
Yeah. So that's why I'm all about, like, I love podcasts, because it's like, okay, they're creating something new. No one can really take it. I mean, they can take it, but ultimately it's like your voice. And if they're going to repost it, that's good for you, you know?
And it's also, it's off the cuff. I mean, you can edit a little bit, I guess, but I mean, you kind of get one take, and who you are as a person is going to show through. So I like that part of it. I think it's much more vulnerable and much more creative in that aspect. Yeah.
Long form is much harder to like
fake,
rip off, or fake. Yeah. You know, like what are they going to do? Repost an hour long comment, like sick. Okay. I don't care.
Sweet. Thanks, dude.
Go for it.
Do you guys do YouTube as well? Do you post all your videos there too?
Yeah, we have our podcast on YouTube. I have a old stale YouTube for my fitness business. But all of our podcasts are recorded.
Crusty.
It is crusty. Yeah.
It's not a gross word.
It is crusty. It's crust. Things are either crusty or moist.
We got to uncrust it. Get it moist. Dog.
I gotta moisten it up.
Moisten up that YouTube channel.
I gotta spit on it.
Here, let me help.
But we do record all of our videos and the bloopers as well. Those go on the YouTube, which is pretty fun. So you'll be
this whole interview is going to be a blooper.
It's just one blooper,
1 hour long blooper.
let's make a 1 minute Instagram reel of just all dick and jerk off jokes.
Definitely is happening.
Definitely,
that is most definitely going to be on Instagram.
Oh no!
Tomorrow, first thing. Yeah.
We said
Thursday.
We said we weren't going to get canceled until 2023, but it's going to be tomorrow.
Dude,
it is. Do you guys think you're ever going to get canceled?
I don't know. We've just been saying we can't get canceled until 2023. Like it's not possible until 2023, but at the rate things are going, it might be next week.
After this episode comes out.
Yeah, they call me the canceller, but I don't know why.
You? They call you the canceller?
No, I'm just kidding.
Every time I go on a podcast, they shut down right after.
Yeah, it's so weird. I build up podcasts and then I go on them and they shut down.
Drake giveth and Drake taketh away.
Yeah, it's honestly a genius business model.
I wanted to ask you, the last question I had for you, I wanted to ask you about like the music industry. What's the future of the music industry? What's your future in the music industry? Where do you see it going? Do you see shows coming back? Because it seems like music has changed a lot and the industry has changed a lot from a complete outsider's point of view. I'm just curious, like, where do you see it going?
Well, being here in Los Angeles and seeing all of the musicians kind of like scramble and panic and just like have midlife crises at 20 in their 20s. People are starting to realize, because I mean, music is already impossible to make any money in. And the few, if I look at my college class, I can probably name two out of a few hundred people that are still doing music to this day. So it's already hard. And then now you throw the fact that there's no shows, there's very little studio work. There's like, very, very little anything going on in music. So right now it's dead. It barely has a pulse. It's barely breathing. But I'm starting to see some gigs pop up. Like I've had a few offers, but the problem is there's so many musicians that will say yes to a gig that it's literally like you can get a musician for like a fraction of the cost now.
Oh yeah.
Because everyone's like, yes, I'll do it. Yes, I'll do it. Yes, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So it's like driving down the price even more.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Too much
and
supply.
Unfortunately, like I was talking to one of my friends about this the other day. She was basically saying like, yeah, well, this is the time now to reinvent our rates. And this is the time for our rates to go up. And I'm like, that's a great thing to say and to want. But who is going to, first of all, people don't have any money to give you that extra rate. And the second part of that is there's so many people that are going to take it for lower than your original rate. So I think there's going to be a big renaissance happening. I don't know what that is. And a lot of people in LA, I think, have left. So I know that's a good thing. Sorry, everybody. But
you can drive somewhere without just getting stuck in traffic for 4 hours.
Exactly. So I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, if you were to ask me last week, there was going to be no touring going on, until next year. But as of the beginning of this week, the agents are starting to talk about, okay, we have some inside information. Actually, I think they just released it today that Biden did yesterday, saying that they're going to be getting everyone the vaccine by the end of June or July. So if that's the case, shows are going to come back, and I think it's going to reinvent itself. But the cool thing now is that there's a lot of shows that have been released that you literally use orchestras and musicians, and everyone did it from their house. Normally you'd go to a full studio and, you'd have everybody there. You'd have, let's say, an orchestra there, playing for, let's say, Star Wars. Okay. They all show up there, they play their music, and then it gets recorded. They're not. But now everybody can literally do a remote session. You send them the music, and the musician obviously has to have a good setup, but I mean, you can use this SM7 and that we're all using, and have a good sound and don't mess up your music. And you just send it in to the composer, and that's literally how they're recording scores now. So I think it's going to change a lot. People are realizing, okay, well, I don't have to go to the studio. I can just do it here in my own house. So
that's
it's
crazy.
Changing.
Yeah.
That's almost like what's happening in a lot of just actual corporate companies.
Yep.
Once COVID hit, everyone was kind of like, well, I can still do my job from home. And corporate's like, yeah, we don't need to spend $30 million on this office location.
For real. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah. It's crazy that that's even happening with music, because that I never would have expected.
I wouldn't either. I'd be like, yeah, no way that's ever going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's happening.
That stuff all seems very positive to me, because we need to innovate out of problems, not like hide from them.
Yeah.
And go hide inside from like the world forever. Not just about like COVID, but just in general. Like there's problems in the world. We need to innovate past them, I think. I don't think you can pretend they're not there or hide from them or make them go away. You have to like innovate past them. And that's a perfect example of that. Like, so this bad thing happened and all these other technologies popped up to make it still happen. And now we still have those technologies. Like that's a good thing. Yeah. It's also a good thing that like, that we didn't just hide, because you can hide from your problems for a little bit, right? Like you can
for a little bit, but they don't go away.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it's almost impressive. And I hadn't thought about this until now. It's almost impressive that we didn't take any time to hide from these problems. We just went into, okay, how the fuck are we going to fix this?
Yeah.
How are we going to actually, like, we need music. We need this. We need that. We went straight into innovation mode, which is actually really cool. And I never thought about that until now.
It's so cool. I mean, this whole COVID thing literally sucks for like a lot of reasons. Like my bank account has never been smaller, but obviously down the line, it's going to be the biggest it's ever been. But it's so fun to see everybody like getting really creative. Mm-hmm. It's so cool. It's such a testament to how amazing humans are. I mean, I do know some people who are like just kind of waiting it out. And I think they're going to be, they've got a rude awakening coming. I feel so bad for them, but it's so exciting to see people like be like, fake it till they make it. It's so cool.
Well, every time that there's every 7 years, there's a crash in the stock market, like clockwork. It's the way it goes. It's part of the system. It's not the end of the world. It's just the part of the system. Every 7 years, the stock market crashes. And every time.
Are we in that 7 years right now?
I think we just, I think we're there. And we're also kind of, like, we've been like overdue for it, but it's a natural process of things. Just like every once in a while, there's wars, there's all these things. And whenever the stock market crashes, there's a lot of people that sell everything while it's crashing. They hide all their cash because they think it's the end of the world. And there's a lot of people that buy a bunch of stocks and make millions of dollars because guess what? The world didn't end. Yep.
And the poor get poor, the rich get richer.
Yeah. And so it's the same type of thing. There's going to be people who are going to go hide and conserve what they have. And then they're going to come out of it with nothing. And there's going to be people who are going to capitalize on all these opportunities and they're going to come out of it with something. So
yeah. Didn't we both buy houses in the middle of COVID?
Yeah.
People are like, are you sure that's a good idea?
Fuck it. Fuck it.
Rates are low. Let's go.
Going all in.
Do you guys live next to each other?
No, unfortunately, not anymore. We did at one point.
We actually live on top of it's an up-down duplex.
And you live in a bunk bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. It's a bunk bed.
Yeah, it's a bunk bed. It sounds fancier when you call it a duplex.
Yeah. It's a modern duplex.
Oh man.
No, I live on the other side of the city right now, which is kind of a pain in the ass, but you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, that is very true.
Hell yeah.
Well, dude, it's been really cool to talk to you and learn about you and your pivot and you and Jimmy Jew and your music career. You're a fascinating human. I don't know if anyone's ever told you that.
No, they haven't. Are you coming on to me?
Maybe a little, like 20% or so. Well, I really appreciate you having your coming on the pod, and I want to make sure that everybody can find you and Jimmy Jew and your podcast and your band. So why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you and learn more about you and stalk you?
So if you want to stalk me, my Grindr profile is
yes.
So my Instagram is Drake Trumpet Jam. My podcast website is drakeandjimmyjew.com. My band is irationmusic.com, and you can listen to all of our stuff on Spotify or iTunes. Actually, iTunes is dead. I'll never stop saying that.
Yeah. What happened to it?
I don't know. Just like now it's just like music.
It's just Apple.
So Spotify, Spotify and Apple Music and Apple Podcasts for the podcast. So, and also check out Real Foodology Podcast. That's a big one. And got a new one coming called The Dr. Tina Show. That'll be out probably in April. That one will launch. So yeah, a lot of fun stuff. And I appreciate you guys having me on. This is really fun. You guys are crushing it.
Of course.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, man. And again, y'all, I highly recommend you check out Drake and Jimmy Jew and the Real Foodology Podcast, because a lot of our listeners are fitness and bodybuilding. I think that would be really beneficial for them.
It's perfect for that.
Yeah.
You guys are going to have a good time.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Well, shit, thanks again for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. And thank you all for tuning into episode 12.
I think this is 14.
14?
13.
I never fucking know. I'm just going to stop saying it. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the Struggle to Strength podcast. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Later.